And gun violence like this has been plaguing Portland for the last 2 years.
Katu's been following a city council plan to address the problem since April, and it includes millions in community grants and a new police unit focused on gun violence. Now, the final parts of that plan are rolling out in the next few weeks.
Katu investigator Wright Gazaway joins us with an update on this. Now, this plan covers a lot, but it's been slow rolling out, right?
It has been. City leaders say it's not like flipping a light switch. The plan has three main parts. First, roughly $3 million in community grants for existing, well-established groups working on gun violence. The second part is a $600,000 block of grants for new groups. Finally, that new 12-person police unit focused on gun violence. It's the final two that have taken so long, but they're close to being done. Few topics have consumed conversations inside City Hall and across Portland quite like the seemingly unending gun violence. This year, once again breaking records in the Rose City. Over 60 people have died by gunfire. Hundreds others have been shot. Both figures are a sad high point in our city's history. After a year filled with a lot of bad news, though, there was a sliver of optimism for some people. A new community oversight group for a police gun violence unit interviewed 45 officers who want to serve on this new patrol team. Kim Dixon is a co-chair of the Focused Intervention Team Community Oversight Group.
I think putting us all in the room and having the capacity to work together and work through and move forward together in learning and growing is very significant, and it's one of the many efforts that needs to happen.
The Bureau ultimately picked 12. They'll start training early next month and then hit the streets. Dixon hopes the process marks the beginning of a new community partnership with PPB and sets an example for other cities to follow. This team, Dixon says, won't solve everything, but has an important role to play.
The age group available for booster shots is expanding, and while health officials urge people to get their booster, we're learning it's unclear whether you'll need to continue getting those shots in the future. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Deborah Knapp.
And I'm Wright Gazaway. The FDA and CDC recommend Pfizer booster shots for 16 and 17-year-olds. Just like adults, they're now eligible for the booster shot 6 months after their second dose of the vaccine. The move comes a day after Pfizer released a study showing 2 doses plus the booster are enough to neutralize the Omicron variant.
Meanwhile, the future of booster shots is very unclear. How many will we need? Will the definition fully vaccinated change? We know you have a lot of questions. K2's Genevieve Rayom is on your side tonight in Northeast Portland. And Genevieve, this discussion is in a lot of headlines right now.
Yeah, Deb, there is still a lot to be determined when it comes to booster shots. So I talked with Dr. Jennifer Vines today to try and figure out what the future of boosting will look like.
CNN, the New York Times, ABC, Business Insider, boosters are leading headlines across media outlets.
I know people are very anxious to know about, am I still fully vaccinated? If they're subject to a vaccine requirement, does it still count?
A Business Insider just today with this headline citing Dr. Anthony Fauci saying it's a matter of when, not if, the definition of fully vaccinated changes. Dr. Jennifer Vines says in her circle that hasn't been discussed. And for now, 2 is still the standard. The booster, an effective bonus.
What would you say to people who seem to be a little bit deflated by this whole process? They thought, oh gosh, I'm going to get my 2 shots and be done, but now I'm going to have to keep getting vaccinated every time there's a booster potentially.
I would say right now at this point in time, go and get your booster dose. I think as far as feeling kind of demoralized that it's a never-ending cycle of variants and vaccines, that's yet to be seen.
Is there a potential that you think it could just be this 3-dose series and then that's enough? Or do you see it looking more like the flu where we're updating every year?
If I were a betting person, I would probably bet more on the side of needing some additional doses of some COVID vaccine in the future.
Businesses are struggling to find workers because there's fewer of them out searching for a job today.
And with thousands of job openings now, state economists say it is hitting bars and restaurants the hardest, as some are having to close their doors permanently because of it. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. K2's Catherine Kissel's live for us tonight. Catherine, what are business owners saying about this issue?
Well, Deb and Steve, I talked with an owner of a local bar here in the Pearl, and they said it's really a combination of factors of why they had to close, but the labor shortage was certainly a part of it. Now, local economists say that workers will be coming back, but some say that they don't think workers will come back until the industry changes.
We are closed permanently.
Robbie Wilson says they did everything at Botanist to survive the pandemic. In the end, it just wasn't enough, closing their doors for good this week.
It's been a rude awakening to the fact that we as an industry have to evolve.
Part of that realization is that workers just aren't coming back to work at bars and restaurants. State economist Josh Lehner says that's true and that workers are coming back slower than they expected.
We will be back to full employment in Oregon's labor market a year from now, right? Next fall, early next winter, we're going to be all the way back. So certainly we anticipate a lot of these people on the sidelines today to return to the labor market for sure.
At that point, though, Robbie questions whether it's an environment they want to come back to.
Your average cook works on a restaurant line for 10 hours a day at 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that a condition that we want our brothers and sisters, our sons, our daughters working in? No. Most restaurant employees don't have insurance. Is that a condition that we want our friends and people working in? Absolutely not.
Robbie says it's time for the industry to have a serious conversation about its value to their employees and community it serves.
And my argument is we need to aspire to be better.